Hey everyone, Pete Werner here, and welcome to the best and worst of Walt Disney World. In this episode, we're going to talk about the best and worst resorts for families at Walt Disney World, but we're doing this a little different. Rather than giving you our opinions, we're going to tell you what yours are. No, I'm not going to give you your opinions. I'm just going to feed back your results from a poll that we ran. 907 responses listing all the Disney resorts, asking you which ones you think are the best and worst for families. And I am joined by my good friend, Stephen Elizabeth Porter.
Hello, guys.
And Craig is back on the production nook, but he doesn't want to be on camera, so hi, Craig. So let's get to it. What we did is we put this poll up because Steve and I were talking about ideas about, what kind of best and worst shows we could do. And I thought it would be cool to do, best resort for families, but neither of us have quote-unquote families in that regard. So we really didn't have a good perspective. So we thought, okay, let's put a poll out on Facebook and see what you guys thought. So that's what we're going to talk about, the results of that poll. So we're going to start with the best.
Okay.
And number 5, I don't think this is a big surprise, but number 5 is Beach Club. Got 23% of the vote. Again, 907 people responded to this, so it's a pretty decent sample. Mm-hmm. Beach Club, of course.
Great pool.
You have the best pool on property. You have Stormalong Bay.
Yep. And I think it caters a little bit more than Yacht Club because it has the fun. It has a lighter tone. It doesn't feel as uppity as maybe Yacht Club. And
uppity.
Yeah, that's a word.
Well, yeah.
But I feel like that it makes it more conducive to families because they feel, at home at Beach Club.
Okay. I agree with you. Number 4, I don't think another one that's not a huge surprise, the Polynesian. Got 24% of the vote. And I get why. I mean, again, a great pool, but it's the Polynesian. Mm-hmm. So you've got this great vibe, incredible location.
Fun theming.
To the Magic Kingdom, fun theming, and larger rooms. Kind of makes it easier at the Poly. For, if you have 2-3 kids, you can fit them in a room at the Poly where a lot of the resorts, won't sleep 5. So that's one of the benefits of the Poly having those larger rooms, and it has larger rooms because it was one of the first Disney resorts built back in the early 1800s.
It also has Lilo's Playhouse, the children's activity center.
Right.
So that's a big advantage for families.
But these are, 5 and 4 are deluxe resorts. So these are great resorts for families with money. But number 3, Pop Century, 25% of the vote. So fully 1/4 of the people that participated in this felt the Pop Century was a great resort for families. It's incredibly popular. Mm-hmm. Its food court leaves something to be desired, but that's why people walk over to Art of Animation. But again, I think price-wise, it's a lot more family-friendly than a lot of the other resorts. And, and they do this at all the Disney resorts, not just at Pop Century, but the kind of activities that are available during the day at the pool are incredible. I mean, they're just always doing something. There's games. There's there's movie night at the pool every night. So
they offer the arcades at the value resorts, which are popular
and tend to be larger. The arcades at the values tend to be larger than some of the other ones.
And some of them actually offer like tickets, and you can win prizes. Rather than at some of the more deluxe resorts where the arcades are smaller, you can play fun video games, but there's no prizes to win.
Right.
Which that's a good little plus.
All right, number 2 on our list, Animal Kingdom Lodge. 32% of you voted for Animal Kingdom Lodge. Now, if these numbers don't add up to 100%, there's a reason. We didn't. We allowed people to select multiple resorts. We didn't say you could just pick one. So that's why these numbers may add up to more than 100. But 32% of the people who took the poll said that Animal Kingdom Lodge, and I get this, the number one reason for that, the savannah, the animals. Mm-hmm. I mean, kids lose their minds when they walk out onto one of the overlooks or out onto the balcony, and they see giraffes and they see zebra and they see all these other animals. It's a very kid-friendly resort. The pool is one of the lesser pools among the resorts. It's kind of standard. There's nothing really exciting about it. There's not really not like Stormalong Bay or some of the other ones.
Yeah, I will say, yes, it doesn't have an exceptional pool, but right outside the pool, there's the additional animals that aren't on the savannah, like the flamingos and the some of the other animals that, just make it a little bit more special.
Right. So number 2, Animal Kingdom Lodge. And your choice for the number 1 resort for families at Walt Disney World, Art of Animation. And Art of Animation, I didn't write this one down.
You looking for the percentage?
Yeah.
47.6.
47, almost half. Almost half the people said Art of Animation. That's pretty, that's pretty decisive. That's not, this was not close.
This had 432 votes compared to the second place, which had 291.
Yeah. So people really, it's Art of Animation. And again, got a great pool. You have an amazing food court.
Immersive theming for a value.
You also have the family suites. This is a lot of family suites. You do have technically they're considered a moderate. No, they are considered a value. They're a value. But the prices for the family suites, if you've priced them out, are very expensive. Easily $250, $300 a night for the family suite. But they're themed. They hold a family. Kids love it. You also have the, more traditional value rooms there in the Little Mermaid building, where you're going to pay the same that you would at one of the All-Stars. So you have both choices. You can do the family suite or you can do the standard room, but you've got great pool, great theming, probably, arguably the best food court at any of the Disney resorts.
Quick service.
Quick service.
Service food.
Food court.
Oh, food,
all food courts are quick service.
Sure.
So Art of Animation, the best Disney resort for families, according to you, are lovely people out there in the dark. I'll be very impressed if anybody knows what that reference is from. Certainly the 2 gentlemen sitting in the room right now don't. But there's a couple of gay men of a certain age, and maybe some women, or occasionally straight men with something to hide, who will understand that reference. All you lovely people out there in the dark. I'll give you another hint. And now, Mr. DeMille, I'm ready for my close-up. Okay, I'll stop being gay. All right, let's go on to the worst. What you ranked the worst. And we're going to go from least worst to worst.
Okay.
So in the least worst of the bottom 5, the All-Star Sports, also known as ASS, 5%. 5% of the vote voted for All-Stars. The All-Stars get very little love anymore. They used to be, but with Art of Animation and Pop Century just kind of being better, I think, people have just been drawn to those. And, the All-Stars are getting dated. They're kind of old. Don't get a lot of love.
I also think that as much as Pop Century and Art of Animation might attract some of the high school field trips and some of that, these resorts in particular, the All-Stars, get the biggest brunt because they're even cheaper than Pop and Art of Animation. So you get the high schoolers playing tag or capture the flag in the middle of the night, yelling and screaming. So that is not, for families, that's not as nice of an environment.
I don't know that you necessarily have much different experience at Pop Century. Those are also big with school groups. But I think it's just the size, the theming. I'm imagining. I don't know. We don't know what your rationale behind this was. But just generally speaking, the All-Stars much less popular now than Pop Century and Art of Animation. So I'm not surprised to see it there. I was surprised to see number 4, however. And that was Saratoga Springs, the DVC resort. I'm sorry, my phone is not off. I usually yell at these guys when they leave their phone on, so I will turn mine off. Saratoga Springs. And I'm going to tell you, I don't think that's because this is necessarily a bad resort for kids. I just think a lot of people haven't experienced it. So they don't know it. They don't, it's a beautiful resort. It is sprawling. It's not very, it covers a lot of property, and it's not like really easy to walk around. But and that may be factors in that. But 3.6%, it garnered only 3.6% of the vote.
I just don't think that this resort screams, what a great resort for families when you're competing with some of the other Disney resorts.
Right.
So it's not, I don't think that it's a bad resort for families. I just don't think it holds up to some of these others.
Well, I think also that's the case for number 3, Coronado Springs, only 3.4% of the vote. And I get that. Coronado Springs really is marketed for conventions, for business groups, and things like that. So it really has just kind of taken on that that vibe, that it's really for businesses, like I said, conventions. Anytime you're there, there's it has massive convention space. So there's always something going on, and so I think for that reason they do have a great pool. That Aztec pool, the whole thing is really cool. It's also gorgeous. The rooms are really nice. I love Coronado Springs, so I'm not surprised to see it on there as on the worst list for families. But I think that if you can look past the conventions, I don't think it's really all that bad.
Oh no, it's certainly not.
I don't think any of the Disney resorts are really bad for families. These are just the least popular ones. So,
Yeah.
But number 2 kind of surprised me.
It did not at all surprise me.
Really?
Not even the
Grand Floridian. Grand Floridian got 3% of the vote. Why did it not surprise you?
The same reason why the number 1. This is these kind of they kind of go together, in my opinion. It's the whole uppity thing. Is that families don't.
I hate that word.
I'm sorry.
By the way, I despise that word.
Walking through, families want to go to the pool and wear their bathing suit in the lobby and feel comfortable. And if your kid is yelling and screaming, you're not embarrassed. Where you might, if the Grand Floridian is an elegant place. True. And if you have a 3-year-old yelling and screaming, it can be probably an embarrassing experience. Hashtag not an amazing
experience. Not amazing experience. I was just going to say, Steve.
And so, so that's why the Grand Floridian and the number 1, that's why I think that families don't feel as comfortable there.
See, and for me, I think that, first of all, the Grand has an awesome pool play area, water play area that they added a few years ago. I also think that, its proximity to the Magic Kingdom can't be beat. So I was a little surprised to see that. It's also, its price point is just the least family-friendly resort price-wise of any of them. But number 1, which you voted the least best, let's put it that way, Disney Resort. For families, Yacht Club, 2.5%. Now, I want you to think about, and I think this goes to your argument, Beach Club got 23% of the vote. Yacht Club got 2.5%.
Yeah.
They're right next to each other. They share the same pool. You owe me a beer. Well, I don't drink. You owe me a soda. They share the same pool. They share a lot of the same services. But the Yacht Club is another resort that does not get a lot of love. There's been a lot of problems with the rooms. Every time we do any kind of poll on the resorts, Yacht Club is usually pulling up the rear. But I think your point is well taken, that there's a vibe at the Beach Club that's a little bit more family friendly and a little bit more kid
fun. Yeah.
Whereas the Yacht Club does feel a little more uptight. I think I like uptight over uppity. But that's I wasn't surprised to see Yacht Club there. But it's you consider, All-Star Sports got 5% of the vote. Yacht Club only got 2.5 versus Beach Club's 23. I mean, that's not close. That's not close. So, recapping for you. The best resorts: Beach Club, Polynesian, Pop Century, Animal Kingdom Lodge, and number 1, Art of Animation, best resorts for families at Walt Disney World. On the worst list, All-Star Sports, Saratoga Springs, Coronado Springs, Grand Floridian, and Yacht Club pulling up the rear with only 2.5% of the vote. So there you have it. That is your list of the best and worst resorts for families at Walt Disney World. That will do it for this episode. We hope you enjoyed it. We'll be back with you again next week with another episode of the best and worst of Walt Disney World. Thanks for being with us, everyone.